Good afternoon, traders. Hope you're all having a wonderful weekend. I'm recording this for tomorrow. This is my normal daily webinar. We're doing 2 weeks free. And if you're seeing this video for the first time, go to my page on YouTube and watch last week's one. You will see all the analysis we did. You can follow it step by step. What are these analyses? These are daily analysis we do in our group. So I've got a ton of questions from traders asking me, what is your group doing? What is your group about? Where is it? And quite a lot of questions. So we have more than 500 traders in our group. And that is after I've moved the group from Slack to Workplace. So not all the traders moved with us because some traders are not active at the moment for different reasons. People have different things. So we have more than 500 traders who have always been active in the group. So I have always been there. Our group never stopped working. We never stopped trading. Everything is going great for those of you who think we were lost for a period of time. So there are more than 500 traders following me on a regular basis every single day, all the time. Very active traders who are in our trading room, which means the trading room works 24/5. Sometimes on Sunday and Saturdays it do work. But it's a 24/5 trading room, which means that anytime my traders can get into the trading room and study and discuss trades live and take the trades live, and we register them. We have about 200 active traders always participating in the trading room. Not everybody participates in the trading room because people have different time zones. Sometimes they're not there in time to be in one of the sessions. Sometimes they just watch the recordings of the daily webinar. That is enough for them, and all different reasons. But there are about 200 active traders who participate in the room at least once a day, right? If we do 5 sessions, we normally get 20, 30, sometimes 15. There are Asian sessions when I'm in, it's 20. When the guys are doing it, they probably get about 10. They say 6 to 10 people. But the more active sessions are the London sessions and the New York sessions, where you can get up to 40, 50 people at any one time in the group. Right, actively discussing trades and making trades, and I'm there pretty often. Sometimes 3-4 times a day, sometimes more if I do have the time to be there. So I'm there for an hour or so every session, and I'm there for 3 or 4 sessions sometimes a day. So that is what we do. We sit, we discuss trade, we manage them, we discuss how we're going to enter. We have strategies what to do. We have blueprints on how to manage them. And that's what our trading room is about. Besides that, we are in Workplace, and Workplace has a wide variety of things we can do. We have groups where we post charts. We have groups where we post cryptos only. We have groups where we post stocks only. These are charts that are posted with setups on them and a lot more, right? So when you join our group, you're actually with us on Workplace. That's a paid program. You don't get in there. It's not free. So you're with us in Workplace, and that's the group. That is basically the group. We use Zoom for all the live sessions, like I'm using Zoom right now for this session. So that's in a nutshell what the group is about, and you have hundreds of active traders. So if you have 1 or 2 people who are not satisfied with me, maybe in the past for whatever their own failures, that like to blame other people for it, well, if they're writing anything and you're looking at that and you're making your decision about my analysis based on what some crazy person, right? Then not my fault. You would have to make that decision yourself. Your level of intelligence would tell you what to listen to. Look at my analysis and decide whether you like what we do, or you're going to listen to some crazy person out there, right? That's it. That's all I'm going to say about that. So let's go. This week is free. Please share this video as much as you can, because a lot of people don't know that I'm back, and a lot of traders have never seen my analysis before. So if you're one of the people who like it, you think it's helping you, then share it, right? And like I said, if you don't like it, don't waste your time. If you don't like what I do, if you don't understand this analysis, you don't think this will work for you, don't waste your time, lurking around and making crazy comments. Just move on, find what works for you. But this works very well. This is the best analysis you can find to make forecast. There is nothing better than this. I can tell you that because I've studied almost everything that exists out there. So let's go. Dollar index. What we're looking at is, and if you remember, if I started Monday when this was going up, it was going up on Monday when we said we were expecting it to come back down, and we were expecting it to go to tag this low. It looks like we're on the way down because we're consolidating here. And if this consolidation breaks out, you see this consolidation here? It breaks that way. So we're expecting this consolidation to break this way. It's not going to go in one move to this level. Very likely it might consolidate and drop again. That is if we assume that this up correction is all they have. Sometimes corrections become more complex, which means this might drop here. It will drop. There's a 90% chance, 90% chance it will drop, but it could still go back up and then come down, which means you will have a more complex pattern. And that's what wave analysis is about. It's about understanding when it's going and figuring out whether it will continue to go or it's turning for an up move before it drops. So is the pattern going to be more complex, or is it going to be a simple pattern that keeps dropping? That's all. And that's what we do every day as we update our charts daily in the trading room. So right now, I think we're heading for the downside. If it breaks, we will be in that trade. If it goes up some more, no problem. We're not worried about that. By the way, I forget to remind you, tomorrow I will be doing, as I promised, a chart on the daily, on the daily charts. I'll be doing a webinar on the daily charts, which will give you long-term view. What you can do is start looking at one of those views that I posted on the 8th of, I think it was the 8th. It's actually here. Let me bring it up. I actually found it and decided to show you. So here is it. I hope this is showing up. I don't know if it's showing up on the other side, but I hope it's showing up there. Right, I hope you can see this one. I don't know if it shows up, but it's on the October the 8th. It's a daily webinar on the daily charts for the Aussie pairs. If you don't see it, if it didn't pop up on the screen, I pull it across, but it might not have popped up, right? If it didn't pop up on the screen, then let me just take it off back. Okay, it's there. It's on the screen. There's a lag of about 30, 40 seconds from when I tell you I put it. So you can go there and watch this webinar. Make sure you find it. You will find how to identify patterns in the Aussie pairs. And watch it, because I wouldn't be doing the Aussie pairs in tomorrow's one. I've already done it. So most likely I wouldn't be doing it. Take it off, come back to where we are. And we're back here, right? So let's go. I will go to silver. Silver corrected up. It's coming back down. We're still pretty much not clear whether silver is just going to correct here and go back up, or we're going to make a bigger consolidation in here. But for tomorrow's trade, there's a buy setup we're looking at, and we will definitely take that buy. You can see that it's forming a buy setup here already. Right? So if this buy setup breaks, we will take the trade. Now, a few trades we took last week on the silver, and most of them were just break-even trades because silver is not moving. It's not going the way we expect it to go. There isn't any big impulse in the move, which means you get out, you get in back, you get out. So we took about 3 trades, I think, and all 3 became break-even trades. So this one hopefully will go. If that becomes a break-even trade, and if you don't know what I mean by that, I mean that the trade breakout, it goes, tag you, you're positive, but it starts to do this, it's not going. We get out of the trade. I just get out of it. And here was one option where we got out. When we took that breakout, there was another one here that we got out, and there was another one here that we got out. So they were not going. Those are breakout trades that didn't go. Here's the same thing we have here, right? On gold, also, it dropped. This one dropped, it went up. This one dropped. I warned my traders. Some of them were in the sell that you got to get out of the trade because it's going to pull right back up like this. And we're getting a flag set up here. If this breaks out, that's a buy. Is there any chance that this can work its way down like that? It could. But if it is going to do that, you're going to make a bigger flat in this area here. You're going to come here, go back up, and then we have a sell setup. If that happens, we're going to go for the sell. But right now, this flag is a buy setup. If it breaks, we will go for the buy. Euro, if you go back on Monday, Euro was at the top here. And I said we're not buying this because we were expecting it to come back down, and then we would look for the buy setups. So there is still another buy setup forming here in Euro. Short-term consolidation, and there's another buy setup. I don't see it dropping as yet. It's possible it could go down lower, but I don't see that possibility in it as yet. We're looking for more upside. Pong, we did not trade last week, and I told you when it was coming down that we're not trading it because it has to break this low before we buy. It didn't break the low, it go up, and we were not interested in this buy because it's not going anywhere. I still see Pong as coming back down to this level. And then we would be looking for the upside. If at that point we get a buy setup turning, can we take a sell setup from the top coming here? Of course, if we get the trade, but there is a flat forming here right now, which means this could break once more to the top. I'm not interested in that buy. If it goes, it goes. We'll buy something else, and it still can come back here. So when it comes back to this level, that is when we'll be interested in the buy. If we get a very good sell setup, we will take the trade if there's risk to reward in the sell. Right now, if you get a sell setup here, yeah, you'll get risk to reward, but we don't have any sell setup as it stands right now. Aussie, well, go back and watch the webinar when we were here Monday. I said Aussie is going to come and break this low and then go back up, and we bought here, and that I think we closed this for some traders close it for small profits. Some of us closed it for break even. We got back in the trade here. Some traders got out here. Some traders got back in the trade. And when it starts to do this, and I explain that, then we just get rid of the trade and wait, because in that case, you will look for a sell setup. It's coming back here. And this becomes a much bigger correction for upside. So when it comes back to the low, we will be looking for buy setups again. I think I'm getting an echo. Let me just mute myself again. We'll be looking for buy setups again. This pattern is just getting more complex for buy setups. It's not a sell setup. It's getting more complex. Sorry. It's getting more complex for buy setup. So if this comes back here, we're looking for a buy setup. We don't have any sell setup here as yet. If you take the sell, it's very short term. It's only to break the low. Anywhere we get a buy setup now, we will take it. New Zealand went down, broke the low, come back up. We did not take this buy because we were looking for the buy here on Monday, but then it came deeper and then we ignored the buy, because when it comes deeper, it comes here. Sometimes it becomes a flat and downside. So we ignored those buys and let them prove they're going to go up. So the next buy my traders would have got was here or here, and either would have become small, very small, because you don't trade for this or break even. If it consolidates here for the upside, we will buy. I'm not keen about a downside on this one, but if it consolidates for the upside, we will buy. Swiss, okay, well, you should actually go. Last week I told the guys, go and watch from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Watch every single webinar with only the Swiss piece, and you would understand a little about how pattern develops. Because we were tracking this step by step, and we're telling you what we expected to do and where it's going to go. Now it's a very small flag forming here, which is telling me they might just drop one more here. I don't think we would look for, we will be very careful if we get into that sell. But I don't think that sell is for the downside. I think that sell might just drop here and then go back up. Now, there is only one single pattern that says it's possible it can fall. Now, this is where the complex part of wave analysis becomes. So if you don't know wave analysis, you haven't been following me for a long time, or you're not in my group, you might not understand this very clearly. So Monday, we were thinking this is a contracting flat, and this could go. So if it broke out there, we would buy. It didn't. It came back down. So then we said on Tuesday, if this is a flat, it has to go back up. Some of my traders bought here, but they got out a little early, which is nothing is wrong with that because we knew it was coming down back. And then from there, we're going to expect it to come back, retest this low, and then go. So far, so good. It has done almost step by step what we wanted to do. On a daily basis, we update that for you. Now we're looking for the buy setup, but there's still a sell setup here. So if it breaks the low a little, I'm not interested in the sell right now. But once it turns and give us a buy, or if it goes up from here and give up a buy setup, we will take the buy. So we're not interested in the sell, but we're interested in the buy for an impulse like this, and then maybe a bigger impulse to the upside. What if it's going to come down and break the low again? Well, if we get a trade setup that we like and we think it's going to go to break the low, then we'll take it. I don't think it's going to break the low. If you thought that's a contracting flat and this is the top, then this might be a correction for downside, but we're not interested. I'm not interested personally. The risk to reward to the downside is not good. Once it starts to go back up, or if it breaks the low and consolidate, breaks this low and consolidate or pull back, then a sell is possible. I still think it's more upside. We're looking for the upside trade. Yen, we're always looking for buys, right? So we bought the yen and I closed it on Friday. We bought it on Friday, we closed on Friday. We bought it here, we closed it here. Why we close it? Because it starts to consolidate and it was not worth keeping over the weekend. But we're going to buy it again here if it breaks. So we will have an entry order here. If that break, we're in that trade. We're only looking for buys on the yen, which means if the yen comes down back here again, just maybe we will not sell it, but still look for the buy. from this point going up. Now, some of my traders sold this and sold this. We saw those sell setups. If we get a perfect one like that, we might take it, but that will be short-term trade. The buy is a long-term trade. If you want to know why the buy is a long-term trade, go watch last week's webinar because I explained them in detail, and I explained it on the hourly and the daily and the weekly chart. So, and tomorrow, if you follow me tomorrow and you look at the webinar tomorrow that I'll do on the daily chart, you will see why this is a very good buy setup. CAD is also going up. CAD made a new low. We told you we sold CAD here, we sold it here, and we told it to do the same thing last week. Sell it. Once it breaks the low, take profit. Why? Because it's going to go right back up. I showed you that in one of the webinars last week. I can't remember which one, but if you want, you can watch all the CAD pairs and you will see that. Now, here's what we're going to do. CAD could come at the top here and go right back down. But if at any point here you get a consolidation for upside, we'll buy. Now, yen looks upside, CAD looks upside, Swiss looks upside. That means the majors, like the other ones like Aussie, New Zealand, Pound, Euro might go down, right? Or these still continue to make lower lows, which means just drop slightly up and down, and we will get those to go up. I don't know which of those two options are going to be because we will wait for the setups to tell us which one is happening. But long-term yen is upside, long-term euro is downside. I'll show you again that on the daily chart. If you watch me tomorrow for the daily charts, be on the lookout tomorrow. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you set your notification to get it, and make sure you share it with friends so that they can subscribe and set their notification to get it. Because from now on for this year, 1 or 2 webinars a week I will do, very short webinars, 15-minute webinars I will do on one specific pair. And that webinar will actually be giving you a trade setup. It literally will be giving you a trade setup. So that if you follow it, it's not going to be an immediate trade setup. It's a trade setup like for a day or two. So, you know, by the time you watch it, if you get the notification in time and you watch it, you will be able to follow that trade setup. But maybe if you like it and you understand what I'm doing there, you might be able to get some good trades. Aussie Swiss consolidating. I think this consolidation is going to go up. So we look for buy setups. Aussie yen consolidating. I think this consolidation is going to go up. This specific one could come a little lower like this and then go up. That is possible. But the upside is the bigger trade. So if you get a setup for a sell here, you will be very carefully taking that trade. But any buy setup you get, you should take it. Aussie CAD. Some of us took the buy and closed it for positive. Some of us are probably still in it. But we're looking for a buy setup. This is going up slow. So if it keeps going up like that here, I think if you get a trade tomorrow and it goes very slow here, you probably close it. But if it takes off, that's a trade we want. Very likely it's going to take off. You've got a very big correction in here. See this correction here? It's a huge correction. So I wouldn't be surprised if that takes off. Look for the buy setup. Aussie New Zealand is pulling back. It could be that they're going down to retest this low for a bigger correction and then go back up because we're expecting a little more up before they come down. Big picture is downside, but there is a top we need to go break before we come. So what we're looking for is if you get a correction here, you can sell short term. But if this consolidate in this place here, decide to go back up, we will take the buy. So again, if that is confusing you, and some traders who don't know wave analysis is saying, well, he just said you will sell and you'll buy. So let me take a pause and explain that again to you. And maybe I'll do that a little longer here. For those who had the patience to watch until now, you're going to have a free lesson here. What we look for is longer term trade, right? We look at the bigger picture. So this is the bigger picture in the trade. Let me even bring it to the weekly. This is the bigger picture. In the bigger picture, this thing is consolidating to drop. That's the big picture. But before it drops, we always want it to come back to retest the top. In this case, it might not retest the top because it's a running flat. But we are at least expecting to come back somewhere here, break this top, and then go down. That's the expectation. That it could go break that top and then go down. So right now we are in a consolidation. In the daily, You're in the daily consolidation. And I'm expecting this to go up there, break that top, and then drop. See? Very simple. If we get buy setups, we will take them to the top. We had buy setups last week, and there were no good buy setups, so we ignored them. We traded out a pairs that has better setups. So if you get a good setup, it's okay. What if it's going down from here? What if they will not retest the top and fall? What if this is the top for the downside, right? Like this piece is going to drop to break the low. I don't see that setup. It's not there. It's not confirming anything there. But this could come back, retest this low, and then go. See? So if this could come and retest the low, the question is, do we have a sell setup here for this trade? If it is going to happen. No, we don't. I don't know if that is going to happen. So we don't have a sell setup. If we do get a sell setup, and depending on what the sell setup looks like, we will weigh that question of deciding whether to take this here to the downside. But if we get a buy setup here, we will definitely take it. See, that's the difference. Understanding what the chart is going to do, when it is going to do it, and do you have a setup to trade it? We do that on a daily basis, 5-6 times a day. Euro Oz, okay? We're looking for a sell setup. So we went up, came back, go up, so now we're looking for a sell. If we get a sell setup, we will go with it. Euro New Zealand. Same here. It's kind of go here, break out, drop very sharp. They're doing this. If they drop, we will take this trade. If it goes back to the top, then we're expecting a bigger correction here before we sell. So we will sell every time it makes a top. If it starts to range there, if it starts to make a bigger correction for downside. Right now, there is no upside on it. It's not showing us any upside. Wait for the daily charts and you will see why I don't think it's showing upside. We're not getting any upside here. EuroCAD. I told you if you sell this, once it breaks the low, there was a sell setup here. Once it breaks this low, you have to be careful because from there, they're likely going to go back up. And that is because we were looking at this pattern. See? The flatness of this pattern that tells us that this is likely. So if we get buy setups here, you can buy back to this top. And just maybe you will get this. And then you're going to come back down. See? So just maybe you might get a very good trade setup if we get a buy setup. Do we have a 1 hour buy setup? Well, we do have, but because all the 1 hours are already ending, which I mean, like this move is getting very big already in the 1 hour flags. Like there's a 1 hour flag here. You have to be very careful if you take it because now you want a 4 hour correction. And this one will confirm an impulse like this to the upside. See? Pretty simple. So if we get a bigger correction this week, we will take the trade to the upside. Euro Swiss, stay out of this. It's going to go down or to go sideways a little, but stay out of it. Euro Yen, we're looking for the buy setup. If it was going to break this, it didn't. They dropped. You got a sharp move, a sharp move, a sharp move. Wait for it to come back and then go. Or wait for it to come back, go up, and then drop. So you've got to wait. Because of what they're doing right now, we have to wait. Now, if we get setups to sell, let's say this is the range. If we get set up to sell, we'll take it. If we get set up to buy here, I think we'll consider it, but I don't think we'll take that. But if we get a setup to sell back to the low, we'll take the trade. Euro Pound. And if you follow me again, you would have seen this. We said there's a sell setup here, but I'm not interested in it because there's no good risk to reward in it. We want the buy to the upside. Are we going to get the buy this week? I don't know. I don't think so. It's not looking like it's ready for a buy setup, but we want it to come back to this top and then drop. And there's a reason for that. Now, if it only comes back to, I don't know, this level and then drop, we have a problem because then you have a big running flat here. So we're in a bigger correction. We're not starting the big impulse to the downside. And that means we are going to come back down, but then we're going to go back up and retest the top. So the question is how complex this pattern will become before it falls. And it is going to fall. I'll show you that in the daily webinar as well, in the daily charts, that it is going to fall. So if we get buy setups this week here, if we get any buy setup here, we'll take the trade. If we get a sell setup here, well, I don't know. If you get a risk to reward from the stop here and an entry here and a target somewhere here, well, then you might consider it. We might consider it. It's not the best one. Pongos, we were looking for the sell. It did break, but it didn't go well, right? It did stop short here. We will look at this as a bigger flat now. It's going up. I still think we're looking for the sell. That has not changed. It's just that structurally the pattern has got a little bigger, right? It's becoming a little more complex. So all we will do is wait for the sell. Sorry, let me just take this off. Oh, come on. Let it go up some more. And then we look for the drop. Maybe we're going to have a much more complex pattern than we thought. Or we look for the sell setup. Pound New Zealand, you're already getting a sell setup forming. So if this breaks out, if this gives us a good pattern here and breakout, we'll take the trade. Pound CAD, it's coming down and it might give us a good risk to reward trade. Now, last week we didn't take it because the risk to reward was no good. So we'll be careful. Actually, I really want this to go back up here, break that up and then fall. And there's a reason for that. On the daily chart, you will see it. So the sell setup here will be a little tricky. I rather sell the New Zealand yen. Pound New Zealand, the Pound New Zealand rather than the Pound CAD. If both are sell setups. Pound yen, we're looking for this sell. It's going up still, but we're waiting for this sell. So last week, this was a sell we were looking at. That became a break-even trade. We took it, it didn't go. We closed it for break-even because it wasn't going and we were already at break-even. It's going up right now, and I think they might make a new high. But I'm looking for the sell. And I showed you that on the previous chart where it took 40-something days after we called the sell, the breakout, after we called the buy to breakout on a similar pattern like this. I would show you that again tomorrow on the daily chart. So if you watch the daily chart, you'll see it. I'm just reminding you how many times about the daily chart because I don't know how many of you will watch this and get this far. Pound Swiss. This is the Pound CAD. That was the Pound Swiss. Sorry. They're both the same. They're both the same because we were expecting both of them to come here, break this top, and then go down. So we're expecting a little move up on the Pound Swiss, a little move up on the Pound CAD. Pattern-wise, I think all we need to do is come here, make a trade from here to here. So if we get a setup for a buy here, we can take this trade, and then we look for the sell. All right, that is what we're planning in this one. New Zealand yen, it's kind of going sideways. Stay away from it for now. New Zealand Swiss, it's also going sideways. Stay away from it. It didn't break out. We were looking for a buy last week. It didn't break out. It's coming back down. That's okay. They'll just come retest this low and then go back up. So we don't have any trade set up there. New Zealand CAD, some of my traders are in this buy. I told you about it last week. And we might get more buy setups. This looks like it's going to go back to the top, break the top. So if we get more buy setups, we'll continue to buy. If you close it, that's okay. Over the weekend, we normally close this trade. So I guess they'll close it for profit. Canadian, we're expecting a big move to the downside because of this consolidation here. Because of this consolidation we're getting here. A move that will drop back to the low. But we don't have a setup for sellers yet. Let me go back to the one. We don't have a sell setup as yet. All right, it's coming down, but we don't have a sell setup. If we get a sell setup, we'll take the trade. All right, so we're looking for the sell, not the buy. Cat Swiss, tag the top, and there it goes. All right, see? So told you it's going to tag the top, fall. So if it gives a pullback here, you can sell. We're going to break the structure, and we're looking for something like this. And then upside. So there's still a lot to go. We look for sell setups. Swiss yen. I think this is the easiest one to trade. Last week, we didn't do much about it, but you can see this trade setup here. So if you get a 1 hour flag in there, we'd look for the trade. We'd look for a buy setup. All right. If you get a 1 hour consolidation, we'll look for the buy setup to the upside. Can it drop once more and tag the low? Can this drop once more here, tag the low, and then go? Yes. That is why you wait for the setup. right? If we get a sell set up from there, we might as well consider the sell. Copper, yep, you can look for a sell setup. This might go up a little more here. I think this is going to go. You can see this flat in here. You can see that up move. You get one down, you go back there, and then you get a drop. Now, this drop might be a big one, or it might be one that just comes to make a flat, which means come to about this level and make a new high. Copper, big picture downside. On the smaller picture, they're just crawling up slowly. So they can make a little more up. But basically, this is a good sell setup. You just want it to come back a little higher here and then look for the sell. So oil drop, tag the low. We spoke about that with my traders, that if you get this trade, it's probably going to drop here. An entry order if they take off, but look for the sell. So we drop, tag the low. They can go back here and maybe even break out. I don't think we have a complete pattern here. So I wouldn't be surprised if they come here, come back down, and then go. A bigger pattern. That is possible, right? Depending on how you look at it. Is that an expanding flat in the middle? Or is that making a more complex correction? If you get a buy setup, you can go for it. The sell setup, we don't have any right now. And the same would be for UK oil. Natural gas, it's coming down still. So if you get buy setups, we can take it. I can see this possible breaking out back to the top there. Maybe from this level here. Back to the top. This was last week entry. You can change that entry. That entry should go lower. Then we can put it here. Back to the top. If it breaks out, that's the trade you want. When it goes back to the top, you put it. If it keeps falling, ignore it. We're not keen on the sell right now. You had a buy setup last week and you're getting another buy setup here, kind of going sideways. If they break out, it's one more up. Take profit. Don't keep it for long term because the long term trade here is downside. Same here. This actually broke out, came back down. So this might go just a little more down here. I can see them consolidating, drop a little more down and then go back up. I just drop a little more down, then go back up. S&P 500, very similar, but you're getting consolidation for upside. You're getting consolidation. This is going to come a little lower and then go back up. As of now, that's what we're looking for. That pattern has not changed. DAX, sideways. We didn't break the low. So the chances are they might come break the low and go. It could go from here and then we'll just have a contracting flat. But the chances are they'll come break the low and then go. So be careful of this. The buy, you want to buy, but you want to wait for the buy setup. Make sure you have a perfect buy setup. There is a buy setup here. I don't think that's a perfect one. But if you take this one, if my traders, any one of you take this trade, you know how to manage it. AU200, more upside. Nifty pulling back. So any turn and buy setup you get, if it turns and give you a buy setup, we'll buy. Nifty long term is downside, but we wouldn't sell here. We would wait for a correction before we sell. Wait for the correction because see, they're making sharp moves and then going back up. Sharp moves going back, sharp moves going back up. We do have divergence, which is a sign they're going to turn very soon. But wait for the correction before you start selling. Tesla consolidating. We're going to stay in that consolidation for a while. This one is going up. I don't see it as a complete consolidation. I see this piece maybe like this, go back there, come back here. Maybe even go back up and come down before they go. So it's more of a long, drawn out sideways move there before they go. Just be in the sideways and then go. Amazon is in the same kind of sideways move. Amazon last week, I told you they're coming back to tag this stop. Well, we were looking for the low first, but then there they come back here. So you're pretty much in this sideways move. Come down back, go back up, maybe come back down, maybe even go back up, come back down, and then go. That's a long, drawn-out pattern, right? Well, they've been going sideways for a while. I'm just drawing patterns completing themselves that way. How many of those they're going to make, we will see. But if you took the buy here to the upside to retest this stop, that's a good one because that was the call we made. Now we got to be careful. You want to get out of the trade because I think they can go down now. Right within the sideways move. This one is making a consolidation here. I think it might turn out to be a bigger consolidation like this and then drop. That's what we're expecting that to do. Sorry. I don't know how many of you trade this, but my traders trade it. So we keep an eye on it and we're looking for a buy setup here. Most of these might not be interested to you because you don't trade them, but we have a lot of traders who trade these stocks and indexes and all this stuff. So we do it for them specifically. This one is going sideways. We call the up. This came down. Look for the up. It's going. It might become a bigger consolidation here. This could come back here. So if you get a sell set up here, which it will likely consolidate before it drop, that would be a sell. Reliance. Yep. Reliance. We knew this was going to go break the top. And then you start to look for the sell setup here. If you get that sell setup here next week, if you get this tomorrow or the 2 days time, you look for that trade down. Let's go Bitcoin. Bitcoin is consolidating. It starts to go up. If you watch this piece, if it consolidates here, go for this trade. Back to this, you see this consolidation here? Go for this trade, because from that point, we are expecting them to come back down once more. Now, what if this crawls its way down to the bottom here? That just adds to this correction a little more complex, because they will still have to go back up for this impulse before it completes itself, right? Before the pattern completes itself. Ripple, short-term buy. You might get a short-term buy here. We're looking at this whole thing here. Come down here. We might get a short-term buy back to this top. If you get the buy setup here, it's coming down here. If you get a buy setup, go for that trade. And then we can expect a big downside. I showed Ripple on the daily in one of those webinars before. I'll show you again on the daily tomorrow. Remember when I was giving you the Ripple buy from this trade? I think it was from this trade here. Nope, from the 11, not even from here. I'll show you from where. Go back and look at that Ripple webinar. You should have made a ton of money if you were following me there. Because I think I gave you this buy from somewhere here. To buy, right? So there are a number of buys I've given on the Ripple already. So we're going to give you more because we understand what it's doing very well. So what I think Ripple should do is come back to the top here, break that top, then drop, making a big flat here. So from this point, I think we will start the big up move. This would be an interesting buy point if it comes back to that level. I'll give more details tomorrow, right? So if you watch the webinar this far, that means you really like the work I'm doing, right? So you may want to share it with some other person and make sure they get something, some views of to see. And if this is the first time they're watching it, they might learn something. This one made the flat. We were expecting this to make 1, 2, 3 running flat, make a new high, and be careful of the high if you get one buy there because it could come back down. I showed this also. We are at the very top, right? We're at the top of the structure, which means at any point it could go down. And the same for this one, right? This could give you another drop here, but then upside because this is starting to look more like a flat. Now, if it doesn't drop tomorrow, which means can this go back up here? Yeah, they can go back and they can stay in here for a while, then drop and then go. But if we're looking at a simple 1, 2, 3 pattern, then it should drop and break below. Now, can the pattern get more complex? Maybe. Should you be buying within that structure? I don't think that's the right thing to do. If you get a good setup, it's very short term. So if you get this trade to the upside, it's short term back to about this level. And then we might get more of this. So there will be short term trades in this range if you trade on the short term basis. But once it breaks the low, we'll be looking for upside. So that's about it. I tried to do it as fast as possible. I think I made it pretty quick. It's Sunday. I don't want to bore people. I'm gonna do one tomorrow on the daily charts. You may want to follow that. And if you want more details on any one of these specific charts that you trade, go back last week and look at them. You have more details. And then follow me the entire week, because then I'll be adding new charts every day for you. And you will have an idea what our trading group do, how we trade, what we look at on a daily basis, whether we took the trades, whether we didn't take the trades, whether the trades actually triggered, whether there was a setup, maybe the setup is still forming. So you will have an idea how wave analysis works. I can't promise you you'll know wave analysis because that's very difficult. It's not that easy to do, especially if you've been following me for a couple of months, you know it's not easy. My traders are in the group. They get the course. They learn all this stuff, and it's still not easy. But you can learn it. It's learnable, right? So all of you have a great weekend. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching the video. Some of my traders are in with me. Have a great weekend, guys. Thank you for joining. I know I pulled you out of your weekend there, but it's live streaming in our group right now, and that means my traders will get to watch it anytime they're up and they realize it's there. They'll get to watch it. They'll get notification to watch it. So I would see all of you tomorrow. Have a great evening. For those of you who still have time, those of you whose evening are coming to an end, like in Australia, and you're looking forward to the week ahead, see all of you in the room tomorrow. Take care. Thanks for being here. Bye. Have a great weekend.